I have so many people joining in. Good morning. Hello. Hi.
Hello, good morning.
And we are live. How are you?
I am well. I am well. Thank you so much for having me on. I'm so thrilled to be like the kickoff for the book, and we're so excited. I just was so happy to be able to share my story. So we should get to
Thank you
it.
so much for being here, first of all. And yes, I do have the book in front of me. I wanted to show it to everybody. This is only a sample. It's not out yet, but it's coming on October 3rd. We're going to send out an invitation. Hopefully you guys are on the wait list. But let's talk about you, why you wanted to share your story. And I actually want to read this sentence from your story because when I was reading it the first time, I just felt so touched. I was like so honored to be able to include you in the book and share your voice. So you wrote, I tell a new story, a story of resilience, a story of compassion, a story of grace, a story of accomplishment, a story of freedom. What did you mean by that?
That is a wonderful question. And first off, my name is Alice Sydow, and it's not that I do, but my Instagram is styleyourglow369. So for me, the journey with having being diagnosed with an autoimmune disease really changed my life. As everyone on the call here that is joining, when you have something come up in your life that is an indication that things are out of alignment or out of balance, it's devastating. It's scary. And for me, I've lived with this condition since I was 31. So I'm now much older and 48 actually, and have had some time to really digest it and really be open to surrendering to the condition or what was dispelled on me or put on me, that it came into my experience. Now, to answer your question, how is it about, what is it, how do you tell a new story when in face of the chaos? And so it's taking a different point of view to look at this as, is this happening? Why is this happening to me? I think when people first get diagnosed, right? Would you agree?
I definitely agree.
Why is this happening to me? What did I do wrong? We have a tendency to blame ourselves because we are told in the office of the neurologist says your body is attacking itself. So we are told that it's our body's fault. And so we take that responsibility on. But because my name is Alice, and like every good Alice knows and does, what do? We go down the rabbit hole, right? And we look for answers. And when I was diagnosed, I was first on Copaxone and Tecfidera, Sabri, a lot of different pharmaceuticals, which I detoxed, which is part of the story that I want to share with you in the book, but we're going back to telling a new story. And when you're in that, of course, you're going to first be in victim. You're going to first think, why me? Why is this happening to me? But through that, when you observe it versus participate in it, there's a shift in the energy, right?
Yes.
Would you agree?
I do agree.
Yeah, yes. And I'm sure you had this opportunity as well in your life, right?
Yes. It's very interesting that you really covered a good point there, because I mentioned in my book, and I actually mentioned it on my Instagram, that I personally feel responsible for having MS. Like, I think I caused it. I know it's not the case for everybody, so I kind of get attacked by this statement, but in my case, everybody is different, just like you are different, and nobody knows why the body is attacking itself. But in my case, when I shared my story, and everybody's story is different, is when you look back, like your past, like what caused it, all the small details, you kind of reflect on your past and your present, and just take it from there and try to figure out how to move forward. And your story is a perfect demonstration of how you were able to kind of get out of this rabbit hole and get back to your happy life.
And it's important to note that I so my story, I walk with a cane, and my intention, or I don't like to, yes, it is fact, but I don't claim it. I don't say my MS this, I have this. All I know is that right now, from my past, my life was a little out of balance. And so, okay, so I have this situation. Am I doing everything humanly possible? Have I cleaned out my diet? Have I cleaned up my diet? Have I, you look at it physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. And I know that I hope that the neurologists will end up getting on that path, because when you start telling the story of, oh, wow, this is showing up, something is, the energy's not flowing within my body. So there's something here to teach me a lesson, right? Maybe my life is out of balance. Maybe I haven't been showing enough love to myself and compassion and grace and ease. Let me see what I can do to get back into the flow. And when you get into the flow, do you notice how my voice changed? And I became calmer, because I'm very excitable. I mean, I'm very excited about things. But I'm even learning that to bring the voice down, to get into, have more silent time, have more grace with myself. I mean, I look at myself now and carry that sword of the spirit that I have to carry, or it's in my experience right now to carry as a badge of honor. And I thought about this morning. Everybody tuning in today, all of you warriors out there, because you are my friend. When this comes into the experience, yes. And hey, I'm not saying don't get angry and sad, and I'm not saying scapegoat that, because that's the work. That's the work where you look into that emotion and you say, wow, how am I feeling today, right? Am I angry? Am I upset? And I mean, I just came back from Salt Lake City this past weekend, and I was learning about a new technology, scalar technology, and I had to share a room with like 13 people, or a house, right? And it was in the middle of the night. I had to move rooms and yada yada, and I couldn't see. So my balance, I'm on a mattress in a hallway, right? That's where it was, because I wanted it to be quiet. And I get up, and I couldn't get up. I couldn't see. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to crawl. I crawl every day. And if you're not crawling and your balance is a little shifty, let's say that, because the shift is where the power is, right? When we shift our thoughts, when we change our point of view from fear to faith and trust, and we start crawling, what does a baby do before it starts to walk? It crawls, right? So if you're out of balance, that means your core needs some work. And because I've walked with a cane for a long time, my balance, I'm not perfect. I'm perfect in my imperfection, and I'm going to crawl. So I crawled to the bathroom, and the girl came out and she goes, gosh, I really don't, you're working really hard. I said, yes, I am, because I'm going back to the warrior in you. You've just, either whether you've just been diagnosed, you've lived with this as long as I have, or maybe you're feeling good today. And if you're feeling good today, great. Give yourself a pat on the back. But if you're feeling like crap and you're looking for answers, my advice would be like, get angry, get frustrated, this is pissy. If you're in victim, that's fine. Stay in that. But one day you're going to wake up and be like, you know what? I am a warrior. I listened to Alice. I read that book on how to go through this journey and heal from the inside out, because that's what we are on as warriors to doing. Because when one person, one woman, and one person, one man rises, we all rise through our journey and our story. We're all connected in energy. Okay?
I completely hear you, and I agree with everything you say. And when this project came to my mind, that was the whole goal with this book, to get this message out and just show people that we are here, we are fighting every day. It's not as easy as it looks on Instagram or as an outsider, especially friends that they don't know what we are going through inside. And yes, I think your story definitely captures from the deepest moment in your life to thriving every single steps. So thank you so much for being
And
in
I'm
the
not
book. And
thriving every
I
day. Like
know, but still
I'm
you are doing your best, and that's what it matters.
I'm still on the path, right? And I think when we learn, you know, like just real briefly, can I just share, like, basically I was on all these meds, right? Just like many may be or many may not be. But because back in the day when I was 31, I had no idea. My mom are nurses. My mom and sister, excuse me, are nurses. So they're like, get on the meds. I'm like, okay, got on the meds. Oh, but guess what? You're fatigued. We're going to give you some Adderall. We're going to give you some Adderall and or all the different drugs that are like that. I go, isn't that, I didn't even know. I was like, okay, I'm following the doctor's, you know, recommendation and suggestion. And I was on my way to a closet edit. We'll keep it high level because the story is really good. I'm a fashion stylist out of Minneapolis at the time, wardrobe stylist. I was on national TV. I was on a show called Resale Royalty, all about vintage and secondhand clothing. So it's on Amazon Prime on the second episode if you're interested in checking it out. But that was before the shift hit the fan. Not the shit, the shit, yes, but the shift. Because the energy shifts when all your life falls apart. You're at rock bottom, right? But you have an opportunity. You have an opportunity to recreate your life and tell a new story. And that's what my chapter is about. And that's how we all should look at this. I mean, not that you may not be there, and trust me, I wasn't either, but there's some little things in your life that you can shift. Can you change your diet? Can you change the way your thoughts that you think? You could end up being the heroine. Like, look at it as a movie, and you're the star. You're the star of the show. Are you going to play the leading lady? Or are you going to play the backup dancer? You know, J-Lo was the backup dancer, but look at her now. She's the leading lady of her own life. Yes. Did she have MS? No. Has she? But her vibe and her determination and her will and her grace and her positivity, and Madonna too. Look at you. There are mirrors. There are people out there to look and their journey. They may not have dealt with an autoimmune condition like we have.
Let me ask you something. When you were in your lowest moment, what did you do? What helped you shift your mindset and just like?
I got angry really for a couple years. I was like I was playing the violin, the victim violin. I was like, woe is me. I mean, I was hobbling around with a cane. Like, I couldn't believe that due to the reason why is because I overdosed on Adderall and I became manic due to my doctor's prescription. It wasn't even my fault. But due to the fact that I had some abuse growing up, I took that on, like a lot of women do. A lot of people do. They take it on. They think it's their fault. No, no, no. It was unfortunate how it unfolded, but I bless the situation now. It took me a very long time to get there. But it's like a car accident, you know? It's like an alcoholic, you know? It's like you go through the forgiveness of all the things. And that's what they say that forgiveness is to freedom, right? When you can forgive, but who do you have to forgive the most?
Yourself, I think.
Yourself. I mean, granted, I traveled the world, I partied a lot, and there was a time after the initial diagnosis because I was numb from the waist down, and I got fully got my health back, and I went to New York and I became an image consultant and on color and design and all of the things. And I was on fire, but I hadn't done the true loving of myself. I'd sit there and tell clients in the dressing room, you know, this is how but I truly deep down didn't. So that's the question that if there's one thing that you get today is love yourself a little more and looking unconditionally. So I hit rock bottom, and then I was like listening on like the Hay House radio. And
actually I have a question about that, because the book is about sharing tips, actual tips and resources where people can turn to find solutions for their problems. So my question is, did you see any therapist, or what steps did you take to kind of shift your mood, get back the balance and all those?
Sure. And first off, there's no shame in the game of therapy, seeing a therapist. And I know men particularly have a hard time with that. And I'm saying, nope, it makes you hotter. It makes you hotter if you go see a therapist.
I agree with that.
Deep. You're digging deep, my friend. And I really have recently been introduced to the parts work. And it's not even in the book my story, but I want to share this because it's like, how do you bring more parts to, like, the parts that didn't get the love, right? Like, we all have trauma. We're all dealing with it. If you have an autoimmune, you probably got it. You know, some some stuff happened, and maybe you didn't choose to deal with it. But MS, I feel, is like, for me, it was must scream. Like, I could never speak my truth, which, what a gift it is today to be able to speak my truth and share this with you, because you're helping me listening. And maybe you're gaining something from what I'm sharing, right? So that's how it works, right? That's the energy cycle of it all.
I just have another question. I feel like I have so many questions. Yes. The longer we speak, the more questions I have. About, you told me that it was very emotional writing down your story and just looking back and all those things. But in the same time, I am 100% sure it helped you, like you said, free yourself and just get it out from your body and from your mind. Right?
It did. And there were times, and I was like the last one to get in. I mean, I kept on putting it off because I would do it. And what it would do is all these emotions were coming up for me, but that emotion was coming up. When an emotion comes up, we should not push it down, ladies and gentlemen. We got to feel it to heal it. And for me, I never got that. I was never trained in that. My parents were not like, you need to feel your emotions, Alice. Do you know what I mean? Like, they were like, I'm not even going to go in it. It's in the story. But I had to sit with it and process it. And my legs would get tingly. And I had to bring love. Like, I would put love into my legs and say, it's okay, baby. And I went through all these pictures. There was a flood in my basement for a reason. And the flood, all these things that didn't serve anymore went away. And
hold on, somebody just commented, and I'm sorry to interrupt, but I have to respond to this comment. I don't care to listen to my therapist. I mentally couldn't do it. My response to this, the therapist is not there to talk to you. The therapist is there to listen to you, and you are there in the therapy with the therapist to let your thoughts and everything that's inside of you come out. So if your therapist was giving you advice, you need to see a different therapist, the one who listens to you. Don't you agree with this, Alice?
Yes. Okay. I've had several, you guys. You got to shop around. If the vibe's not there, if you're like, I don't feel good with this, you're sensing. The person that wrote that sensed, you know what, this isn't for me. You know what? It doesn't mean that that's the be all end all. And it's hard to find somebody. I've had to interview. And at times, if the flow wasn't there, and I couldn't find someone, that meant that I needed to be more still. I needed to go out in nature. I needed to ground. I needed to go within. And we are not taught to go within, right? So there are different techniques, like breathing techniques that you can do to breathe, to get yourself into the body. For me, because of the abuse, I was always outside of myself. Like, before this call even, I was like, okay, Alice, get into your body. If I can share this, I was breathing and I was like feeling my feet, because I'm instantly all outside of my body. So I had to calm down and feel my feet to be in my body, because I get nervous. And we all do, and it's okay. And if you're struggling, I'm really sorry. And may I suggest maybe the book, the Parts book. It's gosh, I don't know how to, maybe we could put it in the link. Like a copy, but it's called The Parts book. And it's about looking at those little parts of us, like third grade Alice that had the buck teeth, or the big hair Alice. How many of you had really crazy hair when you're in 7th or 8th grade? I don't know. It depends on what era you were in. But in my era, we had crazy. And that little part needed a little help. So I have all these little pictures. The point is that I had this storm and flood, and I got out, and I was, I like with the hair dryer, all of the pictures of little Alice. And I went and I put them all over my house. So when people come over, they're like, oh, that's little Alice from 3rd grade. That's little Alice from 5th grade. You know, so I'm constantly bringing love to myself. Now, could I get there in the beginning? Heck no. But I learned over time that the importance of that, like bringing more love and compassion.
Somebody just asked, has anyone had luck with improving foot drop? It really stresses me out. You have experience with foot drop, right?
I do. And through my detoxing, it's gotten better. But when I'm stressed out and I'm tired, but this is really important because how we talk to ourselves is a game changer. If we have foot drop, may I invite you to be like, wow, I think I need to sit down today and maybe I need to talk to my foot. I know that's crazy, but this is what I did.
I would say that if somebody hears this, no, from the first time, stay with us, because I thought the same thing before my diagnosis, that there are crazy things, but crazy things help. Like,
thank you for saying
give
that.
it a try. Give it
Not
a try, because it helped me. I never thought I'm gonna sit down and meditate. The first time I did it, I was like, oh my God, I'm wasting my time. But it's just, now I spend 5-10 minutes every morning meditating. So trying new things, you never know what's gonna work.
Yes. Okay. So the person with the foot drop, for me, what really helped is a power plate. Let's not go down the spiritual side of things, right? Like talking to our feet. We don't have to talk to our feet, but what we can do, you know, and I'm just bringing humor to it, right? Because it doesn't happen overnight. Like that person says, acceptance doesn't. Like, but if you willing to get up every day and just, even if you're bedridden, I've been bedridden like 3 times, like a long time. And there were times I was like, shoot, I'm giving up on this. And then each day it gets better and better. And I went to go to a chiropractor, and it was $50 a month to go see, to work out on the power plate. And it's a vibration machine, so it sends vibrations up, so it could help, get the energy flowing in the legs, and that helped immensely for me. And that I'll stop. I'll talk on that. So are there any other comments or questions?
I'm trying to say, yes, hugely empowering. Never claim it. Yeah.
Never. Yes. For the longest time, like my MS, my this, my that. No, because when words, they call it spelling for a reason. Like, think about it, right? Spelling. So the body listens to what we say. So if we say, I'm not happy with you today, darn foot drop, darn, whatever, we have a tendency to take it out on ourselves. So can we go back really quick, that my belief is that it's toxins, parasites, fungicides, heavy metals in the body. So let's kind of shift the point of view that maybe it's not our body's attacking itself. Maybe it's all the other gunk that is. So, hey, let's shift the narrative. Our body's doing the best that it can. Hey, go. But you know what? Go, like I get whatever. You get what I'm saying. There's no shame in the game of, not having love for yourself, right? Like, maybe it is the parasites, maybe it is the emotions. When we're in that state, when we're in an emotional state, we can't even make decisions. And brain fog, yes, I've been there several times. Cleaning up my diet, that really helped. Going gluten-free really helped. Things like that you can do. And it doesn't happen overnight, but then you start seeing celery juice. You start noticing little different shifts and changes. And then you're like, wow, I can get through the day on this. Yeah. And that's the day by day.
Somebody is asking, any issues with joint pain? I want to respond to that. Not every single symptom is MS related, and joint pain could be from anything, weather change, working out too hard. It could be anything. And you don't have to run and call your neurologist to get an MRI, because it might go away next day. But the stress and the panic at the moment can cause more damage. Don't you agree with this one?
Yes, and the fear. So instead of looking at fear, face everything and rise. Lean into it. Lean into what fear actually, shift the point of view, that instead fear to faith. And I know that's so hard, because you're like, I'm never going to get there. There was time where I was like, screw this, I'm done. And I spent a lot of time being undone, a lot. And then all of a sudden saw these small changes, but face everything and rise. Get into that. Like what that that is really disappointing to go through, not have the joint pain. Is there any way that they can do some stretching and some gentle stretching in the morning? Have they tried that maybe? That would be something that I would suggest. I don't know,
Yeah.
that I've done for nerve pain or for pain and
Yes,
joint
me
pain.
too. All right, thank you so much. I know your time is limited, mine too. I have to go and pick up my kids from school. But everybody, I want to announce, actually I did it on Instagram the other day, but the book is coming out on October 3rd and it's going to be available on Amazon worldwide. We have 37 stories in it and all of them are incredible, just like yours, Alice. And I can't wait for everybody to have this book and hopefully they'll find some good tips in it, how to manage joint pain, foot drop, and all those things.
There are definitely tips, and I provide specifically for the MS community, like the resources that you can have. I think I'm chapter 36, but again, my personal Instagram is StyleYourGlow369. Right now I do more fashion stuff, but I'm really going to be getting out, talking more with my YouTube channel. It's going to be launched soon, talking about the thoughts and the energy, the mindset around all of this and how to get to a good place.
And I love it. And I hope we can do this again soon.
Oh, I bless it. And I bless all the warriors on this call. I want you to know today, no matter where you are, it's a new day tomorrow. If you're in pain today, have compassion for yourself. It's going to be a new day. And just do some deep breathing. Try to get outside, touch your foot on the ground. If you're near an ocean, you know, all the things to just reconnect with nature. And I just want you to know how proud I am of you and on your journey and how important that is.
Thank you. Well said. I couldn't say it better. Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for joining. I hope I see you soon.
Okay. Thank you. Bye.